Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the store regionals for Illustrious Cards and Games. I am Jeremy Jallin, joined by the ever so loving Joe Brown, and we are here with round three. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great here. I, I think I'm excited for this matchup. I see one of the leaders at least, and that is the set three Rob Lucci, not the set seven Rob Lucci that everybody's worried about. And this is a little bit of nostalgia because that was actually the first deck I ever played in One Piece. So I'm pretty excited.
Oh yeah, it is going to be a different one for sure. Everyone is so hyped around the OPO7 Rob Lucci, but being able to get a little restand every now and then could be pretty good. Maybe we could even see the little bird friend come along too.
Yeah, and I think what's pretty cool with this because I've had conversations with people and a lot of people have said all the cards that they've made that have made set seven Rob Lucci better also inherently make set three Rob Lucci more viable as a leader. Is it as viable as set seven? That's yet to be determined, but all those CP9 and CP0 cards and everything that set three Rob Lucci can also take advantage of all of those cards and effects. And it definitely plays a different play style with the ability to restand yourself. Trashing two cards, you also have access to Tempest Kick, just like the new Rob Lucci does. So getting 10 cards in your trash is very important as well. And I'm actually very excited to see how this old strategy is gonna hold up in this new format.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely have to be an awkward game with hand and card advantage throughout. Just having to discard those two cards to get that restand. You're not going to be doing it every turn, and it looks like we're up against Black Yellow Luffy. This is one of the top decks right now as well, and just very consistent at what it does.
Black Yellow Luffy also very strong into OPO7 Rob Lucci. So this might be something that Scamurai might be relying on. A lot of the experiences people are currently playing online or in their locals are against the newer Rob Lucci. And from my experience, it's also a very difficult matchup for Rob Lucci to handle the Black Yellow Luffy matchup. So I think the more aggressive version of OPO3, Rob Lucci probably has a better chance since Chin and other Black Yellow Luffy players might not have as much experience against this older leader.
All right, well, Spandum and Spandum. Gonna fill the discard and find some CP cards. And now with Chin starting with that Monkey.D.Garp, always good to get that search for you. And we're gonna go in for 5. Pretty easy take on that life.
And the big question when you're facing off against Black Yellow Luffy is how often do you go after their life total? They have many cards to take their own life for them, and the goal is always for Black Yellow Luffy to get down to 0, activate its leader ability, Don times 2, put 2 5-cost characters face up on the top of their life, and then on that turn play a black Sabo, the little Sabo, so you can play black Sabo from the life, and big Luffy as well. So sometimes it's counterintuitive to actually help your opponent get lower on health. So we'll see how many times Scamurai actually does target his swings towards Chin's life.
All right, well, what is this? The 3-drop Rob Lucci?
Yeah, that's the new one from from set 7 that forces on play. I believe your opponent has to discard a card and then draw a card. So you see, you're kind of forcing him to get rid of something. It still ends up with the same amount of cards in hand, but it is a little bit of disruption that you can put into your black deck.
All right, another swing here, and really, it's just a matter of time. Chin's just trying to build up that hand of those kind of 2-drop Sabos and Monkey.D.Luffys, and one card that's going to help him here is that 5-drop blocker Sabo being able to filter the hand.
That Sabo's by far the most important card in the Black Yellow Luffy deck, more than the other Luffys, more than Russian L's, more than 8-cost Gecko Moria. Black Sabo, 5-cost Sabo allows you to stay safe, especially in a black matchup, a pseudo mirror match, since you both have access to black cards, because it keeps your characters protected from KOs. And there's ways for you to, as the Luffy player, to consistently get those black Sabos back from your trash every single turn onto your life. And you'll see the longer this game goes, if Chin can successfully set that game plan up, the plan is effectively to make sure you can get a 5-cost Sabo in your trash every turn and get yourself to 0 life, so you can always have your characters KO'd or KO protected every turn.
Well, we have 8 swinging in to the life. Chin takes that. Pretty easy take on there, too. You don't want to give up too much resources. And really just swinging 8, trying to get over that blocker Sabo. And yeah, like you were saying, it's one of the most important cards in the deck. And if you're able to just loop them through and through, it's pretty hard for a lot of decks to come back from that.
Yeah, the Fukuro is a nice card that used to be a black staple, especially in the set 3 Rob Lucci deck, because it cannot be KO'd by opponent's effects as a blocker. So it's like kind of a weaker version of Borsalino. But a lot of people have stopped using the card. But going back to the old strategy, you might as well go to the old unkillable blocker in Fukuro there, which makes sure that you're always, unless your opponent has access to bottom decking your cards, you're always able to actually get a block with that character to keep your leader safe.
Now tied up 3-3 in life, and we're gonna have an E-show here, and this is gonna be great, being able to get a little bit of the hand advantage back that Chin's been building up.
Right, definitely, and also keeping those characters low. Many of the cards in Chin's deck are 5-cost characters. So Isho, when you attach one Don to it, it lowers the cost of all your opponent's characters by 3. And inherently, you have Rob Lucci and other ways, the 4-cost Rob Lucci and other cards that can KO 2 costs and less. So if there's ever a turn that Chin slips up and does not have a black Sabo protecting his board from being KO'd, that Isho can cause a real problem.
Yeah, well, it already caused the problem. It discarded a Gecko Moria, a Hiyori, so maybe the big play that Chin was kind of building up to isn't really available right now, but we'll have to see. Another Garp here just digging yet again.
Might as well. Garp and the 3 brother searchers. You effectively have 8 chances, 8 searchers at finding the brothers that you need. At this point, you have 2 Sabos, so you probably want to try to focus on finding more Luffys on your hand. Either the original starter deck 13 Luffy, which can give itself a 2,000 power boost by trashing one of your life, or also the set 7 Luffy, which is really strong. But it looks like Chin opting for the baby Sabo, as we call them. Baby Sabo, baby Luffy, the 2-cost versions that play the bigger versions of themselves.
Got 9 Dawn to work with here. We're going to have the 2 on that Monkey.D.Luffy swinging for 7.
Into life, tough call if you want to get rid of the Fukuro or trash. 2 cards in hand. Looks like Scammerai is going to go for the 8K counter.
Yeah, losing a Kaku there. Never too good. At least we have the trash built up now. We can start getting some plays going. A Sabo was not played. Yeah, was that just a pass?
With all that
the Dawn up, yeah.
It appears that it was a pass. He doesn't want to play the baby Sabo if you don't know for certain that top card of your life is a Sabo, because all the cards that Scammerai has available to KO 3 costs or less, 2 costs or less, you just be, essentially forcing your opponent to trash that baby Sabo. So leaving 6 Dawn up is definitely not a position you want to be in. And Chin, or I should say Scammerai, has done the starve strategy where you just do not swing into the opposing Luffy at all. leaving him at 3 life. And 3 life is a really tough spot because even if Chin is playing the rush ace, he wouldn't even have access to rush because he has 3 life currently.
Well, we have access to KO some characters, and Tempest Kick is going to -3 one of those Sabos, and we'll have to see what Scamorai's been building up in this hand
Is it -3
and try to take down the board that Chin's basically played. It hasn't really played too much to the game, and honestly, that's just Black Yellow Luffy until it gets to low life.
Yeah, I think Scammer is kind of waiting, as you mentioned, for a turn like this where Sabo did not protect any of Chin's board, which would allow you to KO these Sabos. Everything has their cost lowered by 3 because of the 1 Don attached to Isho right now. So with boost, because of the boost, Tempest Kick and Isho are making one of these Sabos essentially 0 cost. Yeah, if you have a Rob Lucci in hand, you can and one other minus cost card in your hand, you can try to KO both Sabos on the turn or take a Sabo and a Garp on the way out.
I think you just KO both Sabos right here anyway, right? The Tempest Kick and then the Isho that puts the Sabo down to 2
He's
and 0.
Yeah, 0 and 2 right now. Yeah.
This is a huge 4-drop Lucci to be able to clear the board basically for Chin after leaving 6 Dawn up on the previous turn.
That is huge because Chin or Black Yellow Luffy does not play a lot of other blockers. Sometimes you'll see the starter deck Ivankov or maybe the 2-cost Shirahoshi from EBO1, but often it really is Sabo versus the world as the way to keep your board safe. And these 2 Garps are as 1-cost characters, they're 2Ks or 2K strength, not really threatening Scamorai's board whatsoever. And now with the full board that Scamorai has, I was thinking that you wait until you can get 5 real strong bodies, maybe 4, and then your blocker in Fukuro. That's when you can try to go at life here. But you don't want to swing too hard because if you get Chin down to 0, if you swing your whole hand in there and get him to 0, that might be exactly what he needs to get those Sabos from the trash back onto life. We already know that Chin has a baby Sabo in hand from the Garp search of the previous turn.
So, baby, we're kind of waiting for 2 turns away from maybe Scamorai going full lethal. Well, 10 Dawn to play with for Chin. And honestly, that Isho discard is huge. Just being able to get rid of that Gecko Moria that they've been building and waiting for.
Absolutely, yeah, because this could have been a turn you play Gecko as well, and if it's in your trash, nothing you can do about it. Chin also, might have to start expediting that life of his own. As I say it, the Flampe comes out, because if your opponent's not going to take your life for you, then you got to start doing it for yourself. So Chin can be prepared next turn to go down to 0 life. There's a lot of ways the Flampe can do it. The starter deck Luffy playing a second Flampe, taking 2 life and drawing 2 cards, so you're getting closer to your goal. And the Machino as well gets you down to 0.
Well, Chin just basically drew 5 cards off 3 Dawn. This is definitely finally starting to look like a Black Yellow Luffy match. We got the 2 Dawn under. Now, just how much can you cycle through? I do believe 4 Dawn left, and we're gonna have a double Sabo.
Double Sabo. That is absolutely massive turn from Chin here. Scamorai was playing correctly, starving out Black Yellow Luffy, not going for the life. Yet with 3 Dawn, Chin is able to get himself down to 2. Put 2 on his leader Luffy and get 2 black Sabos on the board. What a turn of events for Chin on 1 turn.
Chin drew 9 cards this turn. The 2 Sabos and then the 2 Flampes and that Machino. This is insane. Fully built up a brand new hand now. You got a board. You can hopefully maybe stabilize. Oh, and not only you're plus 4K for the next turn.
Exactly. That's what makes Luffy, Black Yellow Luffy. Some people call it Taxi Luffy. Some people call it Bumblebee Luffy. But that's what makes this specific starter deck 13 Luffy such a phenomenal leader into the meta, but specifically into black decks that rely on KO effects that Sabo negates, and then rely on characters that really cannot afford to get that much higher in cost, because you have to keep so much Don available for Tempest kicks and Surus and Helmeppo's often in a lot of black decks, Hinas and things, that you can't afford to just attach 6 Don to a Rob Lucci to swing 11 into the 9K, because that's going to make your turn so ineffective, and that's what Black and Luffy players really thrive on in this black matchup.
Yeah, once you can just start cycling those 2-cost Sabos, Monkey.D.Luffys, and you're pretty much a 7 to 9K leader for the rest of the game. It's so hard for your opponent to actually overcome that. And I think if one could, it's the double attack Rob Lucci, but again, it's just a lot of resources, and while you're trying to spend your resources to just keep up and deal damage, your opponent's building resources with these redraws.
And one of the most difficult parts for the set 3 restand Lucci leader is the sequencing that it takes, right? You have to swing first, as we're seeing here, so it's going to be a 9K swing into the Luffy, blocking with Sabo, and then KO something while your leader is rested. That's the only way. You can't bank it for later or change the sequencing like you can in maybe some other card games. It has to be immediate. While this Sabo has protected all of its rest of its characters on its side from getting KO'd, that means Samurai can never essentially get that double swing with his Lucci.
All right, well, here is Chin's turn yet again, blocked with that Sabo. Pretty much free block as long as you can get those 2-cost Sabos yet again. And even just putting it back into life, we discard the 5-cost Monkey.D.Luffy, a new one from OPO7, and we're gonna put it into the life here.
And you don't even want to KO both Sabos on the same turn,
Ooh.
because you can just get them back with Gecko Moria getting baby Sabo from the trash, as well as baby Luffy there. So perfectly done. Replace the blocker Sabo with his baby version to get it into your trash, so that you can then put it there. Perfectly done. Now you have a pretty strong body finally with Gecko Moria. So Chin understands the sequencing of Black Hair Luffy and playing it very well.
Yeah, that 5-cost Luffy KOing itself to get rid of that Rob Lucci on the opposing side and discarding the 2 from that Sabo. We're going to be swinging for 11 again, and it's only just a matter of time. Now you're staring down not only the Sabo, but a Gecko Moria as well.
Right. You only have one life left, so 2 more hits are
All
going
right.
to be able to go through. That first hit looked like maybe the Don's all piled up, but it looked like it was enough for a 9K swing.
No, it's a full 15K swing.
Oh, 15? Okay, yeah.
And it looks like just enough to get out of it.
Chin had 1 card left in hand. So that turn where he drew 9 cards on 1 turn was the reason that Chin did not, deck himself out or not have a hand here. He had just enough cards to remain from Scamrai's attacks.
Yeah, when you're filtering through your cards like that every turn, you are going to get rid of any non-counter and make sure you have the best chance possible just to survive till the next turn. Then you restock your life again. You could even just leave those in. You just won't get them to the hand.
Yeah, it's such a difficult spot, because even with Scamrai's other characters, you saw he played Rob Lucci, the KO character, right? And then never swung with it, because the opposing Luffy leader was at 9K. So you're never getting through with your 6K. You're never going to go rested. You don't want to have your characters there. So he has the 5-cost Rob Lucci from set 7 that has just remained active the entire game, has never actually taken a single swing. The Khalifa is not.
No.
And the Fukuro is actually not even blocked anything the whole game.
Well, it's going to be blocking this Monkey.D.Luffy that's going to swing for 11, most certainly yet again, after a couple Sabos get played off this Gecko Moria. And you have to think the writing's almost on the wall, but is there a way for Samurai to get through 2 of these blockers and a 9K leader?
That is such a tough question. That would be at minimum because once Chin gets the Sabo onto the board, he'll go back down to 0 life. So you would have 4 swings, it looks like, on your side with 10 Don, but Khalifa is not a strong character. Fukuro is not a strong character. Pretty much is going to rely on. You would have to, because I believe that Lucci is a 5/6, so you would have to swing 2 12K swings with your leader Lucci, and then leave 3 Don remaining for the character Lucci to get to 9. And if Chin has dumped everything, right? It's not like he has a massive hand anymore. So you would need 2 12K swings to handle the 2 Sabo blockers, and then the character Lucci at 9 to break through Chin's 9K leader.
I honestly think the set 3 Rob Lucci could actually close this game out. There might be just enough
and
to
Isho
do
can
it.
swing. Isho, that's only a 7.
Yeah.
That's only a 7K Luffy. Remember,
this is easy then. Yeah.
Yeah, the Luffy leader effect that face up characters, cards in your life to go to the bottom of your deck instead of your hand. So he's not going to gain the 1K Sabo in hand. So you can actually swing a bunch of characters 7K or 9K into Chin's Luffy.
And a block is going to be forced here. You could restand the Lucci, swing again, and just like that, after battling 2 Gecko Morias and what was like 6 5-cost Sabos, Samurai coming out on top.
Yeah, slow and steady wins the race. Set 3, Rob Lucci is the answer to Black Yellow Luffy, apparently.
Who would have thought?